NFL quarterback, host of the Out of Pocket podcast. He's seen everywhere. I saw your picture with Lil Wayne yesterday with a smile on your face. The Commanders lost. Robert Griffin III, welcome to the show. Where would you like to start?
Okay, you had me. You had me till you brought up the Commanders losing. Okay, I'll start with Lil Wayne. Obviously, he's from New Orleans. My family is from New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
I lived there for a year, so I want to send that out to my whole family and see their reactions to that. So it was really cool to be on set with him and Rich and Gerald and Mooch. But then my day quickly soured.
Well, you like Jalen Hurts. You love Jaden Daniels. When you're watching this game, and you're looking at it from that Commanders angle, what went the wrongest?
The wrongest?
Yeah.
Wow.
What went wrong?
55 points. I'll say it this way, because you have to be critical and constructively critical of the teams, even if you love the team. So for Washington, I feel like we were outcoached. We got outclassed. And at the end of the day, it was heartbreaking to watch, because when you look at Jaden Daniels and him having the greatest rookie quarterback season of all time, and just the excitement around the city, the excitement within the building, it was quickly crushed. And Kay, let me take you down a story road of what it was like in the building for the Commanders this week. All right, they're coming out. They come off a big win against the Eagles in Week 16. And the coach is telling them, all right, guys, this guy, Saquon Barkley, has run for 146 yards, 150 yards, and us in back-to-back games. This is what you call a gut check type of game. You got to let him know on the first play of the game that it is not happening today. And then Saquon Barkley and his McDickums ran for a 60-yard touchdown on the first play of the game, crushed everybody. And at that moment, it almost felt like the game was over, because they had been talking about it all week. We got to stop the run. We got to do this. And they couldn't do it on the first play. And in his first 2 touches, he had 2 touchdowns. So for me, that was crushing to watch. It was heartbreaking as a fan. And as an analyst, the last thing that popped up was the fact that we actually did get back into the game, and it was 14-12. But then Jaden Daniels didn't even touch the ball again. Or should I say, when he touched the ball again, the score was 27-12.
Crazy.
We had the fumble, and the Eagles went on 2 touchdown drives. So it just wasn't meant to be. And Philly had the better roster, and their star players played better in that game.
Could Dan Quinn have done anything to change the outcome of the game?
I just think schematically, like I said, we were outcoached. They had free runners all over the place, whether it was on defense with the pressure they were bringing, with the 4 guys up front, or offensively, should I say defensively for Washington, just not having A.J. Brown matched up with the right guys. I do think that Marcus Lattimore not following for the entirety of the game was a little bit of a mistake. And I know he didn't have his greatest game either. But that's what you brought him in there for. You brought him in there to play against the big physical guy like A.J. Brown. And I don't really care if they fought. Like, let him keep fighting the rest of the game. Try to stay in that guy's head. But that to me was the only thing they probably could have done better. I just feel like Philly came to the game more prepared, and it showed.
I look at this loss, and the 2 losses that we had yesterday are so different. Like the Bills, you don't know what to say. You've lost everything. There are no answers. It's hard. It's like devastating in a way that. Whereas with the Commanders' loss, and it's not a house money loss. It's just, well, I'm declaring victory and like, let's go next year. The only thing I can think of is that there's people out there that think it was a one and done, that it was a one shining moment, kind of like but I think I believe in them more than the Lions going into next year. How do you feel about where we leave off with this team, especially because of their quarterback, who went through it yesterday, but I'm like, he's going to be better for that.
Yeah, I'm going to have a positive outlook, because the Commanders are my team. And I know the fans at home of the Commanders feel restored. You know, the fan base is restored. The fans there. The brand is now popping. Like, people like the Commanders name now. And what it goes to show you is that winning matters. And when you have Jaden Daniels, I think that's why you're very optimistic, because if you look at their free agent list this offseason, they got to either sign a bunch of guys back or go out and get more talent to put around Jaden Daniels. And that, to me, is really going to be the key. our best players, some of our veteran players, made mistakes in this game that you wouldn't anticipate. On that very first run that Saquon had, Dante Fowler Jr. tripped and fell and made Bobby Wagner fall on his face dang near. And when he looked back up, Saquon was already in the end zone. So you have to look at this from a standpoint of, I don't think it was one and done, but there is something real about being able to live in that moment. And Washington was the hottest team in the NFL going into the NFC Championship game, and they got destroyed. So what that tells me, and it probably tells Adam Peters, is we're not good enough position by position right now, but we can get there through the draft and free agency. And I do think that Washington will be one of the hottest places that people actually want to go play in the offseason, which is a change. It hasn't been like that really in a really, really long time.
And they keep Cliff, I think. The Saints don't have a guy, but them retaining a coordinator, I'll get into this later this week, just how much it means to not have a, as you know, revolving door of coordinators, no matter who it is, just some stability for a young quarterback. Then they got these vets like Bobby Wagner. They've got, who knows what the Eckler, obviously talking about veteran mistakes and the like there. Zach Ertz even so dejected, so sad after that game, being embraced by Fletcher Cox. Like who knows like what his future is. I saw there was an article on ESPN. I got to ask you about this because you and I have never talked about you and the Snyders, you know, or any of that, but there was an article on ESPN that said that he effing hates it, the success in regard to the success that that the Commanders are having. Why does that bring a smile to your face?
No, it's, for me, I actually had this conversation with Eric Stonestreet on NFL Game Day morning, and he asked me if I remembered the first time I met him. And when he said it, I'm like, yeah, I remember that. It was at Cafe Milano. And I was actually talking to Eric, and Dan Snyder came by, and I'm in the middle of the conversation, and he put his hand on my shoulder and like shoved me somewhere else and said, we got to go. Now, Kay, you know, when you meet someone for the first time, how you show up that first time is really how you show up every time in their mind. But Eric Stonestreet was talking to us on the show, and he said he understood in that moment, like this wasn't Robert saying you're not important. This was Dan Snyder saying that you're not important. And I think for me, throughout my career, the relationship with the Snyders and me being a young 22-year-old kid, paraded around the city, meeting new people and doing different things, has just been completely misrepresented. And there'll be a time and place to talk about all those things. But when I saw the article, I wasn't shocked. I don't think anybody was shocked. It's like the ex-girlfriend who gets mad at you because you move on and you upgrade.
It'd be shocking probably to hear that Snyder would say, I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, correct. So that didn't shock me at all. If I'm being candid, the thing that shocked me was whoever was at that dinner and went and ratted on them, they probably shouldn't be at that dinner anymore. But that's neither here nor there. I don't think anyone is pulling punches or feels bad for Dan Snyder at this point in time. They're just excited about the future of what the Washington Commanders can be and what they can do with great leadership with Josh Harris there at the helm.
If that ownership was still in place and they did draft Jayden Daniels, would they be in the NFC Championship game?
Nah.
Why? I guess I'm trying to understand like the cultural.
Hey, you were digging today. Now you're digging. It's listen, Jayden's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback that was the second pick in the draft. There's a lot of parallels there between myself and him. Both athletic quarterbacks, took the league by storm my rookie years, and the difference is moving forward for Jayden, you can catch lightning in a bottle for 1 year, no matter how dysfunctional you are. I've been on many teams that were very dysfunctional that won conference, not conference championships, but won their division. When we won our division in 2012, our team was one of the most dysfunctional ever. I just didn't know about it because I did not know what I didn't know. And for Jayden, he doesn't have a GM, an owner, a head coach, or an offensive coordinator that are feuding. These guys all have a singular vision of him being successful, and they don't care who gets the credit. And that, to me, has been the greatest thing for Jayden, because going into this offseason, one, he's not injured. And then two, they're going to be able to build more around him with massive cap space. When I was there in 2012, we had no cap space in 2013. And we had all those things that were going on. And I think when you have a dark cloud around your organization, or you have things that is infighting, it only hurts your young quarterback. Jayden Daniels doesn't have that. Josh Harris, Adam Peters, Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury, they all want this guy to be successful. It's not your guy versus our guy. This is our guy. This is his city. And to me, that's going to lead to them being successful for the next 10 to 15 years. And I couldn't be happier for them.
Same. Love that. Commanders fans wanting to hear that today. We're declaring victory on the season and what's ahead. And now let's talk about these Eagles, because you're a Jalen Hurts guy. And then he made you look smart because he had passing touchdown, 3 rushing touchdowns, 246 passing yards. What was the most impressive part of his performance yesterday? Because he looked incredible. It was his best game, I think, maybe of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted this out. 2 things I tweeted out. One, I said he was more mobile in this game than he was all year.
Ooh.
So I don't know what they told anybody about his injury, but somebody definitely made it seem like he was more hurt than he actually was, because I'm guessing he took the knee brace off and he was moving around and juking and jiving and going out there and being able to scramble. So I thought from a mindset standpoint, I love Jalen Hurts' mindset, whether it was in college, high school, now in the pros. He is just trying to win. So the next thing I tweeted out was he's the best quarterback in the NFC. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, no, what? What if you give this guy this roster and this guy the Eagles roster? Well, guess what, guys? None of those guys have the Eagles roster, okay? So Jalen Hurts don't feel bad for throwing the football to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley, or having one of the most dominant offensive lines we've ever seen. So it doesn't matter from there. All this guy cares about is winning. So I was happy for him in a way to see that he's able to be the first Eagles quarterback to get to 2 Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. And to me, he's very underrated. So I was tussling internally because the Commanders are my team. And I love Jaden Daniels. But I'm so happy for Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley.
Not to mention how impressive it is. I mean, at the quarterback spot, you got to give love to the fact that the O-line was a bit of a mess. And it is, I mean, how much credit does he deserve for staying cool when that's all going on with Jurgens and company? That's hard.
That's a great point, Kay, because Gerald McCoy actually brought this up on our pregame show yesterday. Early in the year with Cam Jurgens and those guys at the center position and the guards, they were having issues with the snaps. And you know, we talk about Jason Kelce retiring. That quarterback center exchange is so important. So now if Jurgens is not starting, you got Landon Dickerson in there, and then Landon Dickerson gets hurt. The fact that they were able to still operate their offense at such a high rate was really a testament to how deep they are as a team, but also how great of a leader that Jalen Hurts is. Didn't allow any of that stuff to get in the way of them getting the job done. And I'm more than sure that 60-yard touchdown in the beginning of the game on the first play made them all feel a lot more confident.
If they win the Super Bowl, the Eagles, is Saquon Barkley the best free agent acquisition of all time?
Ooh, I'm gonna take a page out of my guy Marcus Freeman's book and say it's one of. Because I'd have to do some research.
Tom
first.
Brady would be the other one. Tom was a free agent in 2020, and then he won Super Bowl 55 during COVID, of course. But like outside of that, I can't think of another free agency acquisition.
Let's compare those two, though, right?
Okay.
Why was Tom's so significant? It was because he won it without Belichick, right? And it was essentially the same roster that Jameis Winston had the year before. So it was just, hey, Tom was the missing piece. The reason Saquon's, in my opinion, is better than Tom's is because of what happened with the Giants. I really believe that Saquon is a player that people can see themselves in. Yes, not all of us have McDickens for legs, right? Not all of us can run 60, have like what, 8 60-plus yard touchdowns, the most in NFL history, including the playoffs in a season. Not all of us can do that, but all of us can feel and see ourselves in someone who wasn't appreciated where they were, right? You pour your heart and your soul into something, and you just don't feel like it's being reciprocated by your boss or by the job that you work. But then you go somewhere else, and you are appreciated. They pay you what you believe you have earned, and then they allow you to go out and be your best version of yourself. There's this quote out there about water costs, $4 at the grocery store, $7 on a plane, and maybe it's $14 at the club. Who knows? But the water didn't change. Its location changed. So Saquon became his true value because he changed his address. He changed his zip code. I think all of us can feel that. So you root for guys like that. I'm so happy for him and his family.
We have a full screen here. He needs 29 yards in this Super Bowl to pass TD for the most in a single season all time, including the playoffs. Now, we saw James Cook do his thing. It was 6 yards per carry. I feel like Saquon Barkley is Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars vibe. He is the only hope that everybody can rally around. It has to be him. As good as Jalen is, and Jalen, like that thing to A.J. Brown that was next level, this is on Saquon, and he knows it. Can he do it?
Yeah, he can definitely run for 29 yards. I think.
Can he beat them?
Can he beat the Chiefs by himself? No, he cannot beat them by himself. I'm not making my pick right now, Kay. We got 2 weeks.
I know.
We can do this for 2 weeks, but I do think there's going to be a lot of people hate watching this game. And I tweeted out that I think the NFL struck TV gold because Floyd Mayweather, a lot of people watch Floyd Mayweather because they want to watch him lose. You have the first team in league history to make it back to the third Super Bowl who's trying to three-peat. That is a storyline, whether you love the Chiefs or you hate the Chiefs. For the Eagles, they got the best roster in all of football. And they got this guy that you just talked about, that we just talked about in Saquon Barkley, who is someone you root for. So if they're going to win, it's going to be the same way they beat the Commanders. It's going to be the same way they've beaten a lot of teams this year. It's running the football and allowing Jalen Hurts to be efficient. Yes, in Super Bowl 57, he was able to throw for a bunch of yards and have better stats than Patrick Mahomes, but that's not their recipe for winning. They got to allow Saquon to get 100-plus yards, 20-plus carries, and I think he's going to break that record. I just hope Terrell Davis doesn't come out and say he doesn't want him to play in the Super Bowl. Nothing like that. Shout out to my guy Eric Dickerson. I'm just playing, ED. I'm just playing.
I want to get your thoughts on the crucial call early in the fourth quarter. Let's go Bills-Chiefs here. Okay. Bills are driving, 1-point lead. Allen called short on the quarterback sneak. Did it look like he got the first down to you?
Yeah, it did. It looked like he got the first. And typically, like when you go inside of an offensive huddle, and we're on Thursday, we're talking about short yardage and goal line. Or Friday, today we do that. Short yardage and goal line on Friday. They always tell you, listen, if we do the QB sneak, they're going to give it to us. More times than not, that's exactly what happens. You do the QB sneak. No one can see with 22 bodies all in there at the line of scrimmage where exactly the ball is. So the ref typically just takes a half step forward or whatever it is and gives you the first down. The Chiefs stopped 3 of those bad boys. So I stopped running it. You know, that's the most stops on quarterback sneaks we've seen.
Crazy.
Like, it's a crazy amount of years or maybe even ever. I just would stop running, but I did think they got the first, but the ref said they didn't. They reviewed it and said they couldn't have conclusive evidence that they got the first down. So you got to stop. They can't keep whining about that. It is what it is. If you can't get a yard in football, you don't deserve to win.
Heard. I agree with you. I don't think that decided the game. Yeah.
I don't think it decided the game. And man, if you guys want to go check something out, go listen to I keep bringing this guy up, but go listen to Eric Stonestreet talk about the refs and what you get on Info Game Day morning. I was like, yo, this guy is unbelievable. Like, the Chiefs, if you can't catch the ball, right? And I know it was a hard catch by Dalton Kincaid.
Let's see it.
Right, a hard attempt. If you can't catch the ball, that is not the referee's fault. They're not cheating for the Kansas City Chiefs to win if you can't get a yard on a quarterback sneak. If there's a roughing the passer, a pass interference, or a late hit out of bounds, that's not the refs cheating for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's your player making a wrong play at the wrong moment in the wrong time. And that's what the Chiefs tend to do. They make the right play. This play, though, that you have on the screen with the catch, that's a very difficult catch to make. Can he make it? Yes. But you know what? No one has pointed this out the entire day. And last night. I've watched the tape back multiple times. Josh Allen actually could have adjusted the protection and got that blitz picked up. But no one is talking about that because I think there's a fear right now amongst the media to criticize Josh Allen because he has been so great. And I do think Josh Allen is a great quarterback. But they're in an empty formation. They motion Khalil Shakur into the back and have him run that bubble. if Josh Allen simply gave I don't know what they call it, but it's an RL call, and it borrows the backside guard and takes them to the right, they would pick up that blitz, and he would have had an opportunity to hit Dalton Kincaid for a massive gain with the entire blitz picked up. And if they didn't pick it up, he still would have been able to throw the swing pass out to Khalil Shakir if that end ended up dropping, pressured him. That to me was a bigger issue than Kincaid dropping the ball. So I don't know why no one has pointed that out. But that's his job. And there's 18 seconds on the game clock. So it wasn't like the clock was running down and he just had to run the play. They had time. He could have made that adjustment. He didn't, and it cost him the game.
I think Shakir was open. You could have thrown to Shakir. That the first part, I have to watch it back. I wish we were showing it on repeat, but I just feel like they couldn't get it done. That was a brilliant take. I know we have so much coming with Out of Pocket with RG3. All the breakdowns. He's saving it for the pod. Please go subscribe. Please go listen.